The movie begins with an encrypted conversation of a woman who is identified as Trinity, with a man on the other line known to be Cypher, inside a dark abandoned hotel. Shortly after, they learn that their conversation has been exposed and that the authorities are on the hunt for Trinity. 2 police units followed by a group of suited agents arrive to chase her down. Police officers catch sight of Trinity and are about to arrest her but fail as she successfully lands a strike on the officer, tossing him hard across the room. She effortlessly defeats the remaining officers where she is soon instructed by a figure named Morpheus. He gives her a particular location with a public telephone in order to escape the place. The suited agents continue to pursue her aggressively until she reaches the rooftop. Trinity jumps from building to building with one suited agent hot on her trail. She dodges several gunshots and impressively jumps onto another building from a long distance, to which the suited agent flawlessly copies. Fortunately, she reaches the telephone booth and beats the other suited agent from hitting her, which marks her triumphant escape. Meanwhile, a man named Thomas Anderson, who also goes by the hacker alias Neo, is seen sleeping in front of his computer when he suddenly wakes up to an anonymous message flashed before his monitor screen. The anonymous sender, who happens to be Trinity, informs him of the Matrix and instructs him to follow the White Rabbit. Just then, a group of people come knocking on his doorstep seeking a particular drive. They invite Neo to join them in the club, to which he refuses but changes his mind right after seeing a White Rabbit tattoo on the lady from the group. There, he meets Trinity, where she tells him that he is being watched and that Morpheus can help him with the answers he seeks. Living a double life, he comes to work as a program writer the next day when he is reprimanded by his boss for arriving late. He receives a package delivery containing a phone back at his cubicle and receives a phone call from Morpheus. He warns Neo about the group of suited agents coming for him and advises him on a path through the scaffold in order to safely escape. Regrettably, Neo fails and allows himself to be taken by the agents for interrogation. Agent Smith, who is leading the group, offers him a fresh start out of his current state in exchange for sharing his knowledge on Morpheus. Neo, on the other hand, outrightly refuses and demands a phone call to contact a lawyer. In return, the agents seal his mouth shut and force a robotic bug inside him. Back at his place, Neo wakes up from what seems to him as a nightmare when he receives a call from Trinity. She asks him to meet her under a street bridge together with 2 more individuals, where they drive in an abandoned building. Inside, Neo meets Morpheus. Morpheus says that he relates to Neo's confusion and elaborates more about the Matrix and its characteristics. It is everywhere, and it has its eyes wide open into tracking his every movement through the mind. He also presents 2 pills from which Neo can choose. The blue pill, which permits him to return to his foregoing life, and the red pill, which allows him to uncover the truth. Neo takes the red pill and is brought by Morpheus in a room full of computer servers. As the red pill starts to kick in, his sense of reality warps and eventually breaks apart until he wakes in a pod filled with tacky liquid. He is picked up by the flying ship, Nebuchadnezzar, where Morpheus and the rest of the gang are residing. After some time, Neo recovers and Morpheus enlightens him of their current situation. In the real world, human beings are being stored in a pod as their minds are imprisoned in the Matrix, a computer-generated dream world that depicts a reality shaped in the year 1999. The Matrix has the consciousnesses of the remaining humans completely immersed in a simulation, with Morpheus and his crew revealed as the remaining free humans, along with those on the city of Zion, the last human city on the planet. This phenomenon started when war erupted between humanity and intelligent machines, where the machines have won the war. Human beings are no longer born but grown. In hopes of freeing more humans who are enslaved in the Matrix, Morpheus and his crew continuously hack their way in, able to take advantage of its simulated nature as shown through their extraordinary movements. Morpheus shows Neo around his ship and introduces him to the rest of his crew. He also learns more about the programs that strictly control them, like the agents who are lurking in charge within the Matrix, and the sentinels that are regulating in the real world. Neo passes out in utter shock from the newly acquired information. Later, Neo meets their operator Tank, where he inputs a set of programs for Neo to learn, most of which includes combat training. He learns Jiu-Jitsu, Taekwondo, drunken boxing, Kung Fu, and many others in a matter of hours. Neo manages to display an outstanding performance during his virtual training with Morpheus, which convinces him further of the prophecy he believes in. This prophecy pertains to a prediction made by a prophet known as the Oracle, which claims that Neo is the one who is fated to free humankind from enslavement against intelligent machines. Neo continues his virtual training with Morpheus, transitioning from one program to another. He teaches him to free his mind and to deviate from everything that he is used to. Later that day, a sentinel comes around the proximity of the ship, forcing themselves to go into hiding in a dark corner while disabling their power. The crew manages to stay hidden as the sentinel moves past them. The next day, a large number of the crew go back into the Matrix as Neo, Morpheus, Trinity and Cypher drive to visit the Oracle. Morpheus and Neo continue into the building, where he meets children who are potentials. Neo comes face to face with the Oracle, where she tells him that he is not the one and that he has to choose whether to save himself or Morpheus's life. On their way back, they find themselves trapped and about to be ambushed by the agents and the police. This was caused by Cypher, after having betrayed the entire crew in exchange for a blissful life of ignorance in the Matrix. One of the crew dies in the shootout, resulting in certain death in the real world. The tank provides them with a way out through the walls but is discovered by an agent. Morpheus then decides to sacrifice himself and be captured in order to protect Neo. Together with Trinity and a few others, they barely escape through a manhole. Cypher, on the other hand, gets out of the Matrix by himself, shoots Tank and unplugs most of the crew in the real world. Tank, who has managed to survive, shoots Cypher and kills him. Neo and Trinity ended up being the only ones who had safely returned to the ship. Back in the Matrix, Agent Smith questions Morpheus in a tall building with the aim of extracting information regarding a code to access Zion. The other agent besides Morpheus injects him with a program in the form of serum as Agent Smith continues to discourage and discredit his beliefs. At the same time, Tank and Neo observe Morpheus from the Nebuchadnezzar. Tank proposes to unplug Morpheus, which will result in his death before the agents can come and destroy them, including the entirety of Zion. Just as Tank is about to pull the plug, Neo is reminded of his conversation with the Oracle about sacrifice, and strongly opposes it. Instead, Neo decides to go back to the Matrix and rescue Morpheus together with Trinity. As they both enter the building, Neo and Trinity shoot all guards and the military. They get past the entrance and into the elevator using their learning programs of combat. Inside, Trinity sets up an explosion below, causing alarm amongst the agents. As their fight progresses on the rooftop, Neo, face to face with Agent Smith, outperforms his capabilities and carries out techniques that fairly match him. He dodges bullets skillfully and, in the end, both he and Trinity defeat him and the rest of the agents. They spot a helicopter nearby and pilot it with the aid of a pilot program from Tank. They position the helicopter right in front of the agents handling Morpheus and shoot them ceaselessly, targeting almost every corner of the room, avoiding Morpheus. Finally, Morpheus breaks free from the cuffs and hangs by Neo on a rope as the agents fire in their direction during their escape. A shot lands on the helicopter, forcing Neo and Morpheus to roughly alight on one of the buildings before the helicopter crashes. Trinity cleverly grabs on the other end of the rope tied around Neo, and he pulls her up. The three of them rush down a subway to escape through the phone booth. Morpheus is successfully brought back to the Nebuchadnezzar, leaving Neo and Trinity. An agent witnesses this through the eyes of a homeless person, allowing him to transport across their location. Simultaneously, Trinity opens up to Neo about the Oracle's prediction to her but fails to fully elaborate it. She answers the phone call and is sent back to the real world right before Agent Smith shoots the phone booth. Neo is then left alone with the agent. Trinity advises him to run, but he turns back to face Agent Smith confidently, ready to fight him. They shoot each other at the same time when they both go unscathed. They toss their guns after running out of bullets and fight in hand-to-hand combat, with Neo fully capable of matching the agent's attacks. After many collisions, Neo suffers a heavy injury and bleeds from his mouth. Agent Smith throws him towards the railway and strangles him. He holds him in the same position, attempting to kill him with the approaching train, but Neo persists and lands back to safety. The agent chases Neo just when Sentinels come close to the Nebuchadnezzar from the other end. They prepare to launch the electromagnetic pulse, EMP, against the Sentinels while waiting for Neo's return. Neo steals a phone from a civilian and gains contact with Tank, where he instructs him a way out. Agent Smith switches from one body to another as he pursues him consistently. Meanwhile, the Sentinels swarm over Nebuchadnezzar because of its current running energy. They wait for Neo with high hopes as he runs for the fire exit and at the end of the alley. Neo hears the ringing phone and enters the room, finding Agent Smith with a gun aimed right at him. He shoots Neo continuously, and he goes unconscious, presumed to be dead by Morpheus, Tank, and the agents. Trinity, on the contrary, sticks by him and continues to tell him her prophecy that she is to fall in love with a man, and that man will be the one. She looks at Neo with loving eyes and confesses her feelings for him. She kisses him gently, and just then, Neo comes back to life. Agent Smith along with two other agents fire shots at him again but fails to inflict damage. It was at that moment where Neo claims the prophecy and embodies the one. He victoriously halts the movement of the bullets and surpasses the abilities of the agents. He defeats Agent Smith and makes it in time barely, just before the ship loses power from using the EMP against the Sentinels. Neo wakes up at the sight of Trinity, slowly closing the gap between them in a warm and delicate kiss. The movie ends with a call made by Neo in a phone booth back in the Matrix, showing his commitment to giving the humans who were enslaved a world where anything is possible, hinting at a challenge against the machines before he takes flight.